or communities that we live in. The event today we are witnessing is the launch of, or birth of Sunbird. I think Sunbird started long time ago. Today we are launching it, but it started with, Ernest started with research in cassava, and then we used to call him the cassava man. He did research, the pests that affect cassava through the leaves, and we went to the food. And we've grown this research into what we see today. There's a lot that artificial intelligence can do. And when I was looking at the project today, the Sunbird Translate to me was something that, the whole of government or everywhere we are today can serve. I am speaking today, and after all this speech and examples I've given, someone will say, tuwe yo mu Uganda. Oh, yeah, and when I'm talking to Ugandans, I have to talk to all the languages that we have in this country, because you want the message to come home and to be understood by everybody. Many times people think that technology or artificial intelligence or anything is for the land people, because we use those technical jargons that everyone does not understand. But when we translate, then the message comes home, or they relate with, what is it that this solution is that can help me. And so that is one of the projects that I will intentionally support, because it is going to help especially media and communication a lot. One of the challenges we have as government is the poor communication of government programs. We fail to communicate, maybe simply because we cannot translate into that language everyone understands, or because the journalist might not even know what you mean, or translate it. Sometimes he miscommunicates and all that. Then when it comes to the noise sensing system, that system we've also seen grow. I was part of the team that met the mayor of Entebbe, my colleague Fabrice. And then at the time he was so excited, and he said, for me, I'm going to embrace it today. And as a country, we are known, government is known to be slow, but I think we have now moved out of that era of slowness, because we have intentionally said that if someone is willing to embrace this technology, let them do it. If it works out, then the other, for example, in Tebe, the other cities will also borrow a leaf. While Peter was still in NITA, and we were saying that we have to digitize government programs, many of the MDAs were fighting, or they were refusing to take, to digitize their programs. Programs, for reasons we all know. No one wants transparency in the government, we know. They don't want accountability and all that. But today they are, embracing that. So at the time we said, but what should we do? To avoid a tug of war all the time we want to implement. We said, okay, let's go with those that are willing. And those that are willing have now come up to speak for the good of, digitization, and that is where we are at today. When you talk about digital transformation, everyone welcomes it and embraces it, especially after, COVID-19. When it comes to AI specifically, because that is why we are here today, we find that a lot of decisions we make need to be or have to be backed up by data. I think in our introduction here, when we had just started, Daphne said, what Sunbird does, or what AI does, is inclusive, collaborative, evidence-based, and citizen-centered. That one I noted verbatim, because when we are planning for government, many times you say, but we don't see what government is doing, simply because probably the resources they give to certain areas have not been informed by the challenges or by the data that speaks to that area. But because someone is vocal, then they can get the resource they want. Then the quiet people will not, and yet probably they have the biggest problems. So you find that areas like ICT are given less money, maybe because we only talk to computers and cannot defend ourselves, maybe. but it is also because we don't have data. Sometimes I've been asked, why do you say you need money here and there? But I don't even have that information because maybe it is sitting somewhere in our thesis in academia, but we don't have any white papers, or we don't have any sincerely data collected to inform this. So these kind of initiatives, as Sunbird comes up, I pray today when I looked at the panel that had a representation of academia, private sector, development partners, its government was missing. I don't know why. But it gives us the sense of how we need to work together to get the solutions that we need to solve our problems. As government, we cannot work alone. However, we have to work as a team. So the good thing is that having come from academia, I still hold those ties, and we have to work together, private sector, we have to work together, the development partners, to come up with solutions that help all of us. When we think about solutions or small innovations that we do in universities and leave them there, if we scale them up, we would be very far away in today's world. But now I think the mentality has changed. We are looking towards collaboration. This week, and in particular, I think yesterday and today, I have been part of events where we are fostering and enforcing that. We have been, yesterday we launched a partnership between Huawei, the ministry, and UICT for training. We also had, have a memorandum of understanding between government and Centenary Technology Services, for example, just to show that we need the advice, we need to work together to think for us to get the answers that we want. So today I just want to emphasize the fact that government needs to work together with Sunbird and all of us here in whatever initiatives we are doing to come up with the solutions that we need. We have now this parish development model program. We are collecting a lot of information right from households to profiling parishes, what services do they have, what kind of businesses are they conducting, and so on and so forth. But I particularly informed because the Ministry of ICT is leading on pillars, it's called Pillar 6, where we're developing the Parish Development Management Information System. I was pertinent to the fact that, yes, we are collecting this data, but instructed, you boss, for the data that we collect, you have to make sure there is data that is accessible for research purposes. Because if we don't have that data is from our own people, and therefore will help us identify the challenges that we are facing. And if it is not availed, then we'll end up, always doing those kind of research problems that are hypothetical and not applicable or practical. So we are also moving towards that direction. I know we have to bring to maturity the data sharing policy, which we shall, and this information will soon be readily available. So I'm just going to go back to my talking points a bit, because as a guest of honor, sometimes people really put skin in the game to do some talking points, so I'll follow them a bit. On the side of government, we have developed the 4IR strategy. Artificial intelligence is one of those technologies that are now known in the fourth industrial revolution. We also have others like data science, cloud computing, and so on and so forth. So government is not sleeping or is not laid back, but we are creating an ecosystem or environment that will nurture the birth and growth of the solutions that we are dealing with or talking about today. So in that respect and regard, I actually take this opportunity to thank all of you, because you've been a part of the development of this strategy. Academia was largely represented. We have UN Pulse Lab who are driving this agenda. Sunbird will join the board. I know you're shifting from academia to where you'll soon find a home in my hub. at Nakawa. The consumption of AI is premised a lot on data, like I earlier said, technology and human resource, which blends the three. So tonight we are witnessing the launch of these three things: African language technology, the open sourcing of low resource language data from Ugandan Sunbird AI as a company of Ugandans, which has brought AI to life in our context. The Ministry of ICT is leading the effort in providing the strategies, direction through the 4IR strategy, the soon-to-be launched ICT policy. The consultants on this policy are in this room today. The Data Protection and Privacy Act. We are also developing the BPO and innovation policy, because when we see these solutions here today, they've come, some of them came up as innovations or have come up as innovations. But if we don't have a system as government we have created for this to thrive, then it becomes difficult. When we are writing proposals in academia, and they're vetting the proposals, they look at the mix of a partnership. If you're only academia, it is hard for you to get that project through. You have to have maybe some international people and all that. And also similarly now government looks at such partnerships, even development partners. As government alone, I cannot get funding. But also you as academia alone, you wouldn't. So we are forced by nature of the environment we are living in to collaborate, even if we don't want to. So what is my message here is that as we sit in this room today, we equally complement each other. Academia, private sector, government, development partners. If we have that bond or that synergy, we are going to make this country a better place in such a short time. So I encourage you all to go for these, initiatives of collaboration so that we deliver what we have to. As we industrialize and urbanize our cities and country, keeping track of our environment is increasingly becoming very important. I know a number of people are falling sick because of noise. When there is noise, it creates headache, it creates distraction and confusion, and then you cannot even manage. When we're in Makerere, we used to have, I think we still have, lunchtime there are churches around, and then there are some people preaching on the streets as you walk into the university. If you're a student really thinking through an exam, it's exam period, and you have to maybe cram some things for those who do cram, or you need some quiet time or peace, you didn't stand up, did you? Okay, yeah, so you need some quiet time. You really have to deal with such systems that either will help inform university management in school areas, or will help inform planners for residential areas to do what they to plan better. In Africa, we do not yet know the scale of a problem, but with time, I think we are going to get to know, because sometimes someone sits and collapses and they are announced dead. We don't know why. That is the cause. It could be probably that it is these things that we are seeing, the noise and so on. But later on, I believe we'll be able to get solutions to all those. So it is, in summary, I'm going to conclude. I don't want to use so many words. It's an evening. We want to have a good and short evening. It's a great pleasure for me to launch Sunbird AI as the first of its kind organization formed on practical artificial intelligence systems for public good, with a focus on policy in our context. The ministry pledges its support to Sunbird AI and invite you all to do likewise. I think I had already said that. So let's support our own. Let's grow Uganda together. And for all this, I say, for God and my country. Thank you.